Pentagon report is detailing a dramatic increase in UFO sightings, more than 350 since 2021. Is there life on other planets? Scientists may be one step closer to an answer.
There is very compelling evidence that we may not be alone.
You know the sound, you know the noise. We are here. Occam's razor be damned. We are here to talk tic-tacs, saucers, and spheres. Break out your cigars when at the end of each episode, Ronnie talks about stars. We have a new name to the podcast because we might even have several different names that you're going to have to keep up if you haven't been on board since the start of this. The new name is Bit of Both Worlds, which we think was better than the horrible first one where you basically couldn't find us. But let me say this first. Being as there's a new name to this podcast, it is only suiting that we have a special guest today. His name is Ronnie. He was a part of the secret space program, and he has written a book that he is going to tell us about called Alien Werewolves, Lizard Astronauts, Vampires, and Chickens. Ronnie, thanks for being here. We're going to hear about, now, why the long name for the book?
Well, you wouldn't believe that astronaut, werewolf, vampire chickens were an actual thing. But, you know, when you really get down and really get into Google and you're really searching through there, you find some weird stuff, man.
Weird stuff. So you were on Mars, were you not, doing these secret... and Venus.
No,
so now,
no, just Venus.
Just Venus. Now, Venus hasn't been one that has been talked about a lot. A lot of people go to the moon and Mars and work for our government.
No, but there has been a lot of talk about Campinas.
Yeah.
If you missed that episode.
Okay. That's actually very true. There has been a lot of talk about Campinas. And you know what? Speaking of that, we're just being silly here, but we did a lot of things first on this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Even ahead of the big podcast.
Listen, there's some podcasts, I'll just be very...
We even had the same picture Joe Rogan put up in there.
Yeah.
But hey.
And now, hey, to set the record straight, he was first with that. But,
No.
But listen.
No, not anymore.
Listen, I'll break the fourth wall right here. We're listening to a lot of cool podcasts. That's kind of the inspiration even for doing this, and then giving our own little takes and spins on stuff. But there's some, shout out to the Y-Files, shout out to Secure Team showed the image of the flying saucer in broad daylight that we showed in episode 1. We showed that in episode 1. We showed that we were first. And then,
was it episode 1 or was it episode 2?
Maybe it was 2, but either way, who's
There's only
counting,
been 2.
Ronnie? We were first is the point of this. These are bragging rights, okay? And then even the Y-Files, then after doing the Varginha episode.
Wait. You're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome. Doing the Varginha episode, it made me feel good. These are the right things to be talking about at the right times that we're doing it. And yeah, that just made me feel good. The Varginha one that he did, there was an update with James Fox, the director of First Contact, talking about the Varginha incident. And he says, that there's some breaking news that they found out for sure that the Yusuf did land in Campinas, Ronnie. And when he says it, he says the word Campinas back to back 4 times in no less than 20 seconds.
Oh, it was incredible.
So that's cool.
It was almost as good as you playing it on your phone 20 times.
Yeah. It was almost that good, but
almost.
Not quite.
Not quite. Yeah.
Not quite.
I just had a little special.
But yeah, that Varginha one was cool. That was a fun episode. And the little known fact, too, is not only is Campinas there in Brazil, but also in the southern region is Varginha. Varginha and penis.
I do not condone.
All right. We're moving on.
Okay.
We're moving on. We have some really good topics today. And I have one that I've done a lot of work on here. This has been something that's in my mind that I've heard, that I've read on a little bit from years and years ago. And I decided, you know what? Let me talk about this on the podcast this week. and that is octopus. Octopuses. And don't say octopi, because that's actually not correct. I'm going to correct.
Still don't believe you.
Look it up on your phone. It's octopuses. And so, basically, there's a whole thing that some scientists have come up with a theory that basically octopuses are so genetically different from us and every other animal and insect that we all share, like 97% of the same kind of genes and DNA when you take stuff. There's only certain actual differences between us and lizards and shit.
Oh,
even.
boy.
Birds.
I love how this starts out, actually.
Go, cut in.
Oh, I'm gonna. Don't worry about that. There's gonna be a lot of cutting in today.
Okay.
Trust me.
I like that.
The way this article starts, how do you make octopus plural? Well, the answer's not so simple. This is like a 5-page article.
Oh, yeah, because they talk about how you get it from, like, the Greek term versus...
Yeah. Did you know there's another one that could actually be octopodes?
Don't say that.
Oh, hell yeah.
On this octopod
Yeah.
cast. Don't say that.
Dude. Octopode. It's good.
Yeah.
That's the Greek formation.
Octochodes and Vargine. Alright. So, but listen, there's been a whole thing that
It actually is octopuses. That's crazy.
It is octopuses. Now that you've wasted everybody's time, I'm going to continue on with...
I think I want to talk more about the linguistics of...
No. You're going to tune everybody out immediately. Alright. There's a lot of theories about... from scientists about how it could be basically using the theory of panspermia, which I'm sure a lot of you have to be familiar with, have heard this term before. Panspermia basically is a term for when small bacteria, small life forms can, because they can, and this is a fact, stick to rocks, stick to asteroids that cling into other planets, pick up bacteria from there, and the very small little microscopic bacteria can survive in the vacuum of space. Well, we all know that the creation of life, very complicated how it would have happened here, but also you can simplify it. It uses bacteria to start, in water as well. The soup that made life, so to speak. And basically, the theory of panspermia is that since we know that these bacteria can survive on rocks, and that's a fact, then it becomes a theory that if these asteroids have hit other planets that picked up these bacterias, which this is all very realistic so far, only becomes a theory that then those surviving bacterias on the rocks of asteroids that would come in and contact other planets, obviously our own as an example, would then the bacteria would be here. It would be here and it would interact with things on this planet. It'd be in the soil, it'd be in the water, wherever it hit. So, and they look for traces of these bacteria as well in asteroids, land things. So this is really all just not a far stretch, even though it is a theory, that the only thing that's a theory is that it could have started life in general, and that's the theory of panspermia.
You want to hear something very interesting about the theory of the primordial soup as well?
Yeah, sure.
So, let's see. This was back in, it's about 2010. About 80 years we had been doing the primordial soup, accepting that theory. But there was a article that was actually explaining that it wasn't necessarily a soup, but more the Earth's chemical energy from like hydrothermal vents that would have
under the water.
Under the water, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it even says from the vents on the ocean floor, that is what would have kickstarted early life.
Right.
Not an actual, like, soup.
Right. So under the water, again, that's where life started. I mean, that's just true.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, the further down on Earth you go,
So that's the theory of panspermia is only a theory and not a truth based on that facts bacteria can survive in the vacuum of space in extreme colds and heat. Facts, they can connect themselves to rocks, and rocks do smash into other planets, and that planets break apart, stars break apart. This is how asteroids are flying around in space. All facts. So then the only thing that makes it a theory is that if one hit here, the bacteria is here, that it could have gone into the forming of life. And you use that panspermia theory for life starting in general. But this theory has been attached to octopuses. And I wanted to talk about that a little bit today because a lot of scientists have done a lot of work on this stuff. Back in 2014, they started trying to, dissect octopuses and take a look at their genes, their chemical makeup, their DNA, so on and so forth. And in 2018, papers were released by scientists that run these experiments and said that they found hundreds of genes that did not come from us or any other known animal, insect, reptile, amphibian, anything. Anything that's on this planet, we all share a great deal of chemical makeup that makes all of us work. And there are only slight differences, believe it or not, between us and birds and things like that. They're very closely connected. The octopus is the only thing, well, octopus and in general, cephalopods. The only thing that has completely almost different genetical makeup to them. They have 33,000 protein coding genes. That's way more than humans or any other living creature. And basically protein coding genes is like gene editing, which now with our technology we can try to do. These are things like CRISPR and so on and so forth that we do. But every living organism has some amount of gene editing that they can naturally do. The octopus has 33,000 protein gene coding in them. So naturally, this is one of the reasons why they can get camouflage, why they can change their color, why they don't just change color, they can change their shape. They can create horns and their entire body, even their legs, to make it look like coral, where they make themselves bumpy and then make themselves extremely smooth again. There is a lot of great facts about octopus in general that I want to start with here. That's just fascinating.
I'll start you off with something interesting about them too.
Let's hear it.
So, did you know that the very first cephalopod was known to be about 522 million
years ago? Yes.
Is that fucking crazy?
So that's where I'm gonna get going with this stuff. Is basically they that's another whole thing about the alien that they could be aliens is that
act more excited when I tell you facts.
Well, these are facts. I have them written down.
I don't care how much you looked it up. If I say something to you,
down.
Fucking
I wanted to get to it in a specific order that made sense.
This is not happening.
Let's just jump all around here.
Oh yeah, actually, I'm gonna talk now.
No, let me get through my segment. All right. No, seriously, that's very true. So that's, if we want to go there, that's what I have here is about 530 million years ago. But that's about the same, for cephalopods to be around. Now, cephalopods include octopus, squid, cuttlefish, and the nautilus, which is the cuttlefish, and the nautilus, which is a very strange creature, still a cephalopod, even though it has a shell over it.
I know a band called Astro.
But here's the thing. That far ago, right? That long ago, over 500 million years ago, when cephalopods were first around, there was nothing. There was no mammals yet. Nothing was out of the sea yet, and yet cephalopods were here. So they are the first. Oh, look that shit up. They are the first intelligent life form that is here. To this day, we consider ourselves the smartest living creatures, but we also say in general that is a lot of mammals. So like us and even dolphins, they're underwater, but dolphins breathe air from the top of the ocean. That is a mammal as well. And that is why they can have intelligence. Some birds have good intelligence.
Turtles.
They have some good intelligence, but
Don't just say yeah. Turtles were here 500 million years ago, yes. Along with your little octopus.
Yes, okay. But there was nothing that had started.
That's fair. That's
what I'm getting at here that is a truth is that if you look at our tree of evolution, which you can look this up online. There's many pictures of this online. If you look up the tree of evolution, towards at the top of it, we have us, and then from us closely related, obviously chimpanzees. Surprisingly enough, not far from that, birds. And you can work your way back down to the lizard, four-legged animal that came first out of the water and crawled on land. That is where the family tree narrows down to. And still, at that point, millions of years ago, when everything that's here now was related back to a small lizard that crawled out of the ocean as a land-walking animal, you'd have to go millions of years back down further than that from where cephalopods branched off at. Back to the worm, a small
velvet worm
that everything came from. Yeah. And that is when the cephalopod branched off into its own.
We're not unlike them.
Yes, we got them attached. That's very nice, Ronnie. That's the cephalopod branched off then that far back to create its own evolutionary branch that is so unconnected that as far as everything that's alive here does not resemble a cephalopod. Every fucking thing that lives on this planet. And as far as human beings go, there is no further away that you can get. A fly is much, much more related to us than a cephalopod is. They branched off so long ago on their own evolutionary tree that is not connected to what everything else came from on this planet, land, sea, and air. That is a stunning fact that plays directly into what the hell happened there, where they branched off. Not only that, you just need to understand how fucking smart these animals are. Their intelligence is literally on par with like a dolphin and an ape. Look up their intelligence thing, because I think the apes are more. We're obviously more intelligent. Chimpanzees are.
Some of us.
Chimpanzees are, and then dolphins are right there, and they're basically like on par with this kind of high intelligence. They know how to use tools. They know how to be social, even though they do not live in a social society. They are not mammals that stay with their babies. They don't socialize. They don't take mates that they keep. They don't move in packs. They don't do anything. They don't play with each other. They're completely solitary animals. And an interesting fact in general about intelligence is that most people think that what started actual higher intelligence in the beginning was a necessity due to being in a social construct, being a social animal. Why are some animals not intelligent at all and others are? They look and they say, because of social needs and things that come with being social. That's why.
Right.
That is the overall well accepted theory of what creates intelligence, what's the basis of it, to why some animals become very smart and others are not. There is no other animal except the cephalopod that has high intelligence, but is a completely solitary animal that is not social whatsoever. And so even that is a whole nother reason of why you said over 500 million years ago when cephalopods were here. Then after that, it was basically about 350 million years ago that octopuses came to be. and about 140 million years ago is when they lost their protective shells that they used to have in the time of the dinosaurs and stuff. That they originally had a huge shell that then they started being born without the shells. And they said that their
Kinda like
intelligence
so this
came
this
from a
circles back-
need of trying to
Yeah.
survive and a need to camouflage and a need to be intelligent and hide because they didn't have their shells anymore. Whereas everything else, intelligence grew over time, being in social packs and a society where
Yeah.
you watch others and learn from others.
You know, it actually reminds me of
and
like,
compete with others.
yeah, it reminds me of actually an experiment that you did a few years back when you were trying to prove to me that snails were actually slugs or slugs were actually snails, and you were just sitting there ripping the shells off of the snails and trying to like
do that.
perform some type of evolution in front of me.
I didn't actually do that, but that's really great. Yeah, no, and listen, you know what? That's an interesting...
This man killed so
I
many
didn't
snails.
kill anything. I don't eat meat. I love animals. I didn't kill a thing.
He doesn't eat them. He just fucking rips the.
You know, that's an interesting fact since you brought that up, Ronnie, is that snails and slugs are mollusks. A lot of people thought that the octopus was a mollusk as well.
Yes, they
It
did.
is-
That's why like
it
the
is not-
earliest fossils we have are cephalopods.
And it turned out not to be true whatsoever.
Yeah.
In the gene studies, they are 100% not at all related to
Is an
mollusks.
octopus a snail?
No, they are not.
Let's force a shell on one and see what.
You know, but I think that's a great thing, is that the whole theory of intelligence needing through social constructs where you live in a pack, you know, you're around in a social society where you watch others, compete with others, learn from others, and
Can you open that for me, please? You don't have a bottle opener.
But you know, the
Thank you.
octopus did not. The
Yeah.
octopus, out of necessity, they think, was born into intelligence when they were starting to be born without a protective shell.
They didn't gain the intelligence until they were starting to be.
They
born
didn't
without
gain
it?
the intelligence until then,
Okay.
and better off, they weren't technically octopuses yet.
You think-
That's the whole thing of when the octopus, outside of the overall
Right.
cephalopods, when the octopus, which is the smartest of all cephalopods and one of the smartest living creatures on this planet, came to be, that the cephalopods from over, you know, it's like 500 million years ago. Cephalopods basically losing their shells somewhere around 200 to 150 million years ago. They lost that. That is when the technical octopus came to be. And let me give you some interesting things besides that their genes don't relate to anything else that's here. And the panspermia thing, and the whole thing about how cephalopods are not connected to the same tree that every other life form is. Basically, they have chromophores. That this is what gives them their properties to become camouflaged, to change their skin, and even make it bumpy, not bumpy, sharp, smooth, and change color. Chromophores. That is their top layer of their skin, which can change back and forth from black to red to yellow. Underneath that layer are artophores, and the artophores basically reflect sunlight that comes down into that layer of skin and reflects it back out through the top layer of chromophores. And then there are leucophores, and leucophores are receptors that also reflect the sunlight, but on another level that is even finer tuned to where it can create metallic blues and all these different things. And they don't just have those three layers and use them individually in their skin. They work with them and use them together and rotate which ones of those layers of skin they are using in the blink of an eye to determine how they are shifting their colors. And basically, I mean, that alone is absolutely phenomenal. But and to give you, they do that in a blink of an eye. So to give you an example, a chameleon. A chameleon also changes colors. Now, but the chameleon doesn't intelligently do it with its brain deciding to do it, like the octopus does, and it can do it in a blink of an, literally as fast. It's literally as fast as you can blink your eye is as fast as they can change. The chameleon's change takes up to 20 seconds, and that's because it is done through hormones. Right. They don't choose to do it and control themselves in that way.
Yeah, it's more of a fear response.
Yes, and yes, or a stress response and changing, and it takes up to 20 seconds, not in the blink of an eye. They have 3 hearts. Did you know that about octopus?
Yes.
Okay, they have 3 hearts. They have the beak that have what business, Ronnie, does the beak have? Being on an animal with no bones, a big old pile of glue. And
they're munching on mollusks.
They have a bird beak in there though, so that's cool too. But they have the 3 hearts. Did you know how many brains do you think an octopus has, Ronnie?
2.
9.
9.
They have a large overall brain in their head that controls overall response. It can override the other smaller brains. They have a brain that is located.
You're gonna have to show a picture of.
Oh, I am going to show all of this.
Even if it's an animated one. I'm the fucking brains.
I'm an editing genius. It's up right now, and we just don't know it yet because I haven't put it in there yet. But now it is because he's from the future. Yes, and here we are. They have 9 brains, Ronnie. They have a large one that controls everything inside of their head, and then they have an individual brain inside each of their 8 limbs, which can function on its own without literally their nervous system works in such a way that the overall brain can be thinking about something while it moves through the water without thinking. When we open a bottle, like I just opened your beer bottle because you don't know how to do it with a lighter or something.
I don't have a lighter, and the lighter was in your pocket.
But when we do that,
get a bottle opener.
When we do that, we our mind. It seems like to us that's a non-thinking thing. But the way that our bodies work is actually that our mind has to think about that for a second. Tell our limb to put the thing here, to apply a certain amount of pressure, to pop the bottle off, and it's all a step-by-step process, even though it doesn't seem that way. That's the way our brains work. And an octopus, their brains work in a way where their overall brain can think about their eyes looking around, is that a shark, what's going on there? And they literally do not put any thought. Their nervous system doesn't connect the brains in such a way where their legs are doing what they want them to do. And the only thing that the overall brain has control over is it can overpower the individual smaller brains inside of each of their limbs, of their 8 tentacles, when it wants to say, okay, we're lifting up and swimming now. But when the octopus is walking along the ocean floor, the legs are walking on their own, each individually doing its own thing.
So there's almost a brain for each leg.
There is a brain for each leg. When they open bottles, because they can do that.
Yes,
they can open jars and bottles.
Yeah, I've seen that.
They don't use their overall brain to do that.
Yeah.
That is their limbs. And they don't just use all the limb brains need to do that. Maybe only 2 of them need to do that. And the other 6 can be doing something else. And their overall brain can be thinking about something else. And they just are of a different kind of intelligence, but there are us.
Well, to be fair, they're kind of a different breed.
They are a different breed, and that's what I'm saying. It makes them truly like the concept of that. Did something asteroid hit here that spurred on their development to where their intelligence, their development to become intelligent and become octopuses from the overall cephalopod was so rapid, Ronnie.
I have something very interesting to say about that. You know what happened on Earth 550 million years ago?
What?
Was an actual 80% animal extinction.
They survived.
Yes, they did. It was due to a deoxygenation in our atmosphere caused by climate change. That would have been would have killed most, like I said, 80% of the animals because they couldn't survive without that high oxygenated atmosphere that we used to have. So once that actually happened, those fucking cephalopods chilling in the ocean were able to get out of that, right? And then go through their molecular
And
changes.
how cool is that?
What
and go through their
timing
changes.
is that? That's maybe,
Yeah.
like you said, maybe not an asteroid, obviously, since it was climate change related extinction.
But that's 500 million years ago. That wasn't the asteroid, he said. So stick with the timelines here, you guys. He's saying that this was a drastic climate change, that it was an extinction level event that happened over 500 million years ago.
550 when
And then
first
550 million years ago, cephalopods were around, survived that. Now, here's the deal. I don't know this ahead of time. On my soul. And I'm going to ask you, look it up on the phone if you don't. When was the giant asteroid that killed the dinosaurs? I want you to tell me that it was either around 350 million years ago or around 140 million years ago.
It was 66 million years ago.
All right, my theory fell out.
Yeah, easily.
It fell out right under my feet. But the whole theory of the asteroids hitting...
I want to know your theory anyways.
I've kind of laid
Say
it out.
what you were wrong
Well,
about.
my theory didn't fall apart. This is a theory made by greater minds than me. Trust your ass that, okay? Trust your sweet ass in that. I'm not making my own theories here, but basically it was just that this information I'm giving you is not a theory. This is just truths about the cephalopods and octopus, which they so rapidly increase their intelligence. You know, in a drastically short amount of time, right? And that is kind of similar to how we went from apes to upright walking, using tools, building fire in a drastically short amount of time, right? And it's just what spurred on such a crazy boost in evolution.
Spurred on panspermia.
Yeah, nice.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Ronnie. Thank you for that.
I am glad I can be of contribution.
Well, we went on this for about a half an hour, but yeah, they just basically, basically they're fantastic, crazy awesome animals, and it literally is almost like what I wanted to say about the whole higher intelligence thing is that we are the smartest things here. That's still, obviously, that's true, right? But then we credit so much dolphins and apes, great apes, being incredibly smart as well underneath us. And we credit octopus as well as being incredibly smart. But here's the difference. We are incredibly closely related on the same evolutionary tree as even a dolphin, and of course as apes and birds. We are all not only just from the same evolutionary tree, we are only 3 steps removed from the dolphin, 1 step removed from the ape, 2 steps removed from the bird. Birds
a million steps removed from the octopus.
A million steps
but
removed.
100% reason to remember the name.
And the octopus is just completely the most different creature of anything else that lives on this planet, and yet their intelligence is of a severely great magnitude. It's just unbelievable. They've run tests on them that not only everybody knows they can open jars and stuff. Do you know that, again, they're not compassionate creatures because they do not, they are not social. They're not social.
Well,
but
not
they
only
can
are they
learn.
not social, but do you think they just don't have the capacity for any type of empathy?
No, I'm
Between
not
all
saying
of
that.
those 9
I'm not saying they
brains?
don't have the capacity. I'm actually going to tell you the opposite of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
because what I'm saying is they're not social animals, so they don't have a need to be compassionate and be connected to something else other than themselves. But yet they can be, because when people have them as pets, they keep them and they run studies on, they treat them well. The octopus knows the people that it likes. It will go up to the edge of the tank. I mean, there's a million stories you guys can look up on this.
Well, I mean, they also-
million of them. They go up to the edge of the tank. They'll play with the person. They like being pet by people they like. They like fondling their,
Same.
wow. They like fondling people's fingers with their tentacles and stuff, and they like the affection of it. But when they see somebody they don't like, because there are people they decide they do not like, they go and hide in the other edge of the tank. They've run tests on them where they take a person that is the octopus, the owner, so to speak, that plays with the octopus and it loves them, and they're dressed in certain clothes, and then they take a stranger who's a person of about the same age range, like looks enough alike, it's a human being. They dress them in the same clothes as the other person, and they try to confuse the octopus, of who is there.
See right through it.
They don't. They differentiate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did you know that they differentiate? They do all these things, like they can change the colors with knowing what color a rock. This rock is half red and half black on this side, and change to match it. But they don't see in color. They don't see in color. They see in black and white. So how can they change to fucking match the colors when they don't see in color? They see in black and white. The answer is their entire body actually is a heat sensor that can somewhat see. They use their body, again, in their individual limbs, their tentacles, to feel what the surface is like, and somehow through sunlight and feel get the color of the goddamn thing when they see in black and white. I mean, they're just extraordinary creatures. And again, I'll end that here, but I think the whole topic of it, of them possibly, not that they're aliens that came in a ship that came here, but that through the panspermia, theory of different bacteria being introduced to our world through time, that not only them, but there's got to be a reason as well, just like they had this crazy leap in intelligence and evolution in a short amount of time, so did we. And what the hell did that? It doesn't explain it through evolution, because in general, evolution takes... You can look up evolution and see that, okay, this step from the fish to grow some tadpole legs out of it took, 100 million years. You know what I mean? And you can see, then it came out of the water, but it didn't turn into a full-on lizard for hundreds of thousands of years when it's that close. And then everything is so long, but yet we get a leap from ape that is in trees to ape that's all of a sudden on the ground, almost instantly upright walking, and is now different from an ape.
Yeah.
And then almost instantaneously from that, using tools, building fire.
That was actually due to a random genetic mutation through inbreeding.
Oh, you don't say.
Yes.
What inbreeding?
Between primates. It was just a random thing that happened. And if it wouldn't have happened, we wouldn't be here today. It was just due to one little pair that had an offspring that was just slightly different in its own chemical makeup and brain.
And how do you explain the octopus?
You were talking about evolution. I'm not explaining the octopus.
For us and for the octopus. They also had a crazy leap in evolution.
Right, and I couldn't fucking tell you because I'm not a marine biologist.
Well, I'm here to tell you that one of them
They're
got
the marine
fucked
biologist.
by an alien.
One of them got fucked by one of us, huh? That tends to be what happens.
Jesus Christ. Oh,
well, you never looked at an octopus and went, damn.
Jesus Christ.
Everybody put in the comments how
All
often
right.
you... What?
All right, everybody. It's time for Ronnie to talk about his goddamn
Oh,
stars.
no.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you're going to love this. I did nothing.
That's par for the course.
Oh, hell yeah.
As this podcast is going. This is, so you guys know, while Ryan's looking
we're
this shit
40
up
minutes
on
in.
his phone.
I didn't write notes. I didn't take
this
notes.
This is how our week goes. I talked to Ronnie about 4 days out, 3 days.
Oh, you
hey,
best
what are
be.
we going to do? He goes, hey, what are you going to talk about? I go, well, I'll ask you first. I already have this whole idea to do this, and I've been researching it and watching and reading for countless hours on the subject.
Yeah,
And then I
I'll
go,
spend
what are you doing,
10
Ronnie?
minutes.
And he goes, I don't know yet. And then proceeds in front of me to get on his phone and do a quick search and go, oh, how about this little thing on this other planet? And I go, God damn it, Ronnie.
That's the best thing about space. Everything is so not like organized and fucking really set in stone. I can say what I want. Maybe it's true.
Wow.
That's called science.
Yeah.
I'm making a hypothesis. No, but what I did actually find was more just... It's just something from NASA, which I'm pretty sure people have seen. Recent developments about a snake-like robot to go onto... what was it? One of Saturn's moons. I just can't remember the fucking name.
Find octopuses?
And I do not know how to pronounce this. I will butcher the name of this moon. But it's Saturn's moon, in Enceladus. I'm fucking saying that way wrong.
Let me see it.
But it is a snake-like robot that they are... Right? That's what it kind of looks like, but it's probably pronounced very wrong.
No, I'm sure that that's how it is.
But...
You got a moving ocean up there. I thought I saw an octopus popping out.
I mean... Maybe. But no, this is just a new, pretty much research tool that they're trying to... Well, that they are almost done building. They're saying by the end of 2024, they should be able to send this out if they have the proper equipment and everything. And within about 12 years, it'll reach Saturn's moon. And they expect within days for it to dig through all of the ice on that moon into the ocean of it to be able to study more marine life on other planets' moons. It is called an EELS. It's the Exobiology Extant Life Surveyor.
They really worked that out
to
make it
Lord,
work,
right?
To make it work specifically because the thing looks like an eel.
It sure does.
So they just worked around it to make the name fit in as an acronym for
all
eel.
Science is based around one person's bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's good stuff. But not only would this device be used on other planets, it's actually a way for us to more research our own ocean as well. Since it wouldn't be an actual man-piloted anything, you can just fucking send this thing into our ocean.
Yeah, but can it still deal with the pressure? Because even, like,
if
they do have things that can go down low, but I know what is...
If it can deal with the pressure of a moon next to Saturn,
you think that,
I think it can deal with the pressure of
think that, but as far as I know, they have a lot of unmanned shit that can't have a human in it to go into the ocean depths, and it costs a lot of money to make. And they can barely get to the pressures, but there's still places like in the Mariana Trench and places that are even deeper where they can't even build so far an unmanned thing that wouldn't get squished under the pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
so answer that, you son of a bitch.
They're sending this thing to space, Tom. Okay. I don't think they'd send a fucking... a 220-pound, 16-foot fucking robot snake up into space to a fucking planet that we've never even been on, to a moon to dig into their ocean and get inside their ocean.
Yeah.
You think they wouldn't send it into ours?
I think that their ocean is shallow. Like you.
It might be. It might be. Who knows? Maybe there's nothing under that ice. But... They do.
That's what they risked. They risked the $250 billion snake on that.
Hell yeah! That's America, baby. Just throwing money to the wind.
That's true.
Yeah. Now we all just need to band together and spend it all on space exploration.
Now let's all gather around and scold Ronnie. As I don't know this yet, but I do know
what
that he doesn't have an answer to this question I'm going to ask. I'll be shocked. You'll actually shock me if you fucking can answer this. Let's hear about the NASA convention that was held where they look into UAPs.
Yeah.
That you said you'd listen to.
Oh yeah, I didn't.
And there you go.
You're welcome.
You guys...
Just to keep you informed, NASA did have a meeting a couple days ago.
And Ronnie didn't listen
No,
to it.
I can't find it anywhere.
It was his only job. So
I'm not downloading an app and making an account.
Yeah.
Why
It's
is it not
probably
just
on
on
YouTube.
Why is it not just in the fucking...
It's probably on YouTube.
I mean...
You didn't look.
Who the fuck's on YouTube?
You didn't look. You didn't look. Let's be honest with it.
I mean, to be fair, I really wasn't even gonna attempt to look. Oh, look now!
Yeah,
What they were talking about the UAPs and everything, and
NASA.
how like you want to know the biggest thing I gleaned from that, Tom?
From not hearing it,
Yes.
let's hear.
Yeah,
I'm
even
fascinated.
in the little excerpt that they put, I'll read it word for word from you. In the excerpt they put about the thing, because I did bookmark the page that I didn't read.
Fascinating.
I know, right?
This is all fascinating.
Oh, hell yeah. This is what I told you to get ready for. So they were saying, where the fuck is it in here? Everything that they do have an understanding of to examine UAPs from a scientific perspective, to create the roadmaps for data and tools and whatever, it's impossible to draw any scientific conclusions. That's how they end it.
Alright, so that seems uneventful.
Yeah, you want to know why I didn't fucking look at it and listen to it?
Seems uneventful.
Oh yeah, because none of it mattered.
Yeah, but Ronnie, if you want to get into aliens and UFOs, you got to put up with a lot of this shit that doesn't matter. You got to sift through a lot of shit, you know?
Yeah.
Like a rotor-rooter plumber.
But that's
You got
your
to
job.
sift through a lot.
That's your job
Bullshit.
because you talk about the
Yeah, but
aliens.
I want to get you into it.
I talk about space stuff.
How convinced are you on a level of 1 to 10 the possibility of octopuses being taking on some genetic modifications from an unknown place or an unknown source that advanced their intelligence outside of the way that everything else evolved?
I don't think anything came down here and
No.
fucking advanced their
I don't think
intelligence.
that either. I didn't say that. I just, it's the panspermia theory.
Right. I think it's very possible that 500 million years
You
ago...
remember
we've
the
had-
vents in the ocean?
Yes. Now, I do think that 500 million years ago, it's very possible with all the asteroid collisions and everything, it's insanely possible that one of those asteroids could have been carrying a bacteria that one of them might have landed in the ocean carrying said bacteria that you are talking about.
Karen said bacteria?
Carrying.
Oh.
Do you need me to phonetically say it again?
Yeah, I thought that you were I thought you were talking about this lady in the grocery store that I ran into the other day.
That's actually who he got all of his information from on cephalopods. Carrion.
No, Karen.
Yeah.
She was a real bitch.
Fuck Karen. But like I was saying, it is very possible that asteroid falling in the ocean carrying unearthly bacteria, obviously, would have caused some type would have caused a genetic mutation in...
That's the theory. That is the theory that I'm... Yeah.
I mean, it's very possible.
Okay.
I mean, anything in life is possible if you...
All
Do you
right,
have two hands?
Yeah. Go.
Go.
Anything is possible. No, all right, listen.
See? Dude, Yoel Romero knew long before any of us. They even say he's a different kind of breed.
Yeah, the Cuban muscle crisis. But yeah,
Hey, he ain't from Campinas.
No, he's certainly not. He's from Cuba.
Yeah, he'll get inside your Virginia, though.
Yeah. In the southern region, you know what I'm saying? Somebody had a comment in the fucking Y-Files episode that I watched because I shamelessly could watch it. Because we did ours first.
Yeah.
Anyway, and I liked that show a lot.
Oh, hell yeah.
And so I watched it, and somebody had a fucking comment in there that lit me up. And it said that... it said Varginha, in Brazil, Varginha, I heard, could be a hairy place. But always a pleasure to eat out.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And that got me going.
Yeah.
That's the kind of shit we want to do on this show. Okay?
Yeah. Where's that guy? I want to talk to him. Or her. And maybe it was a girl who made the shit.
I doubt it was a girl.
Or one of
they had,
the
like,
other...
interesting things to say.
Wow! I thought I was going to make a bad joke.
Yeah. I beat you to it.
Kind of like the women, you mean, huh? I do not condone violence against women. That's only Tom.
Wow. I don't condone violence against anybody, even animals. You know, here's another comment drop from one of the many octopus videos.
Says the man who tortures snails.
I've watched on YouTube. I never did that. But yeah, there was a guy that said that every day I used to run on the beach. And one day I was, gasping first. I was bent over getting a breath. And I saw in the water on a little rock there that there was a octopus. And she was cut over her eggs before they'd hatch there. Which is, then they hatch out and they go off on their own and she leaves. But the eggs weren't hatched yet, so she was there on that rock. And he said I went over and I put my finger in the water thinking that it would hide in the rock from me. But instead, it got off of the rock, it came over to me and played with my finger with its tentacles. And we interacted like this for some hours. And then he said the next day when I went running, I purposely stopped at that same area again, and there she was again. And I did this, and he said I did this every day for almost a month, interacting with this octopus. And then I left the country that I was in. But he said, I named her Judy. I don't know what she called me, but because of her, I never ate octopus again, and as a matter of fact, I never ate any animal ever again because of her. Goodbye.
I hope you like the sign.